someone said once that there are no heroes and villains in life. They're just people.
And you're locked into another episode of the Enlia podcast. My name is Josh, and we are back at it once again this week. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and smash that like button. Also, ring the bell so that you are notified every time we post a new video. And if you haven't seen me with glasses before, well, here I am now. Doing something a little bit new since the light here doesn't reflect off my lenses as much as when we had the lights right in front of me. So it's a new me, it's a smarter me, a new distinguished me, and I know my lovely wife Rebecca would agree.
Yes. I don't understand why people think that wearing glasses makes you smarter or look smarter.
I've met a lot of non-smart glasses wearer, except for me. I am a genius.
Very smart. Yeah. It's the same way with like people. Why is it a thing that people think that if you read a lot of books, then you're smarter?
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, not everybody who reads is, well read.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I guess it depends on the type of books that you're reading.
Right.
If you were me in fourth grade, you were reading all the comic books and the non stuff that you were expected to read. That's neither here nor there. That was before. Like, I've gone back and forth about reading books and wanting to read like physical hard copies or paperback, but I just enjoy listening more so.
Interesting.
And I'm really enjoying like He Who Fights with Monsters that we talked about last week with our guest. So we're pretty well. Okay, how many chapters, if you can remember, because you've listened to it once, is in the first He Who Fights with Monsters?
I don't remember. It's a lot because they happen often. The audiobook is it's like 24 hours or 23 hours or something to listen to. So it's pretty long. It's a pretty long book. Pretty thick.
Well, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. It's got a lot of. It just reminds me. It's essentially an isekai.
Mm-hmm, it is.
It reminds me of like solo leveling, some Konosuba thrown in there.
Very Konosuba.
Yeah, enjoy some.
Yeah.
So and a very likable main character. So I really like that a lot.
Yeah, and you're only just now getting to know him, really. There's so much more to really learn. The author does such a great job, Shirtaloon. He does such a great job in introducing you to characters and really making you care about each and every single character. And I love that he does that. He does a really, really good job. And I love Heath Miller as the narrator. He's amazing. So much so that like I would definitely go on and find other books that he narrated and highly consider listening to them because he's read them.
Awesome. Well, we know that we've covered a substantial amount of anime in the past few weeks, and you know what? We're going to do it again.
Can't stop, won't stop.
You can't stop, won't stop. That's right. But no, we are going to be bringing in some Disney films because we always like doing those, especially the classics. So we'll have one of those come up here in the near future. Non-Disney stuff, I want to do a couple more like Dawn Blue films, maybe The Secret of Nim might be a good one.
I've never seen that one.
I don't think I've seen the second one. Again, there I go again. I see the sequel. I don't see the original. And depending on what it is, generally the sequel isn't as good, but again, it doesn't have that same charm as the original. So you're probably thinking, "Oh man, you guys have. What are you going to talk about today?" I see that. I see the movie. Does that mean you watched the series? Well, let me tell you, we're going to be talking about One Piece. Have we watched One Piece? No.
No.
Do we know anything about One Piece?
No.
Very little.
I know it's about pirates and a guy named Luffy.
Who wants to be the ultimate king of the pirates.
Yes, Pirate King. That is literally
it. That is literally it.
That is all we went into this movie
knowing.
So,
buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. Now, this is about the One Piece Red film. This came out in a couple of years ago, actually, 2022. And I searched on Reddit saying, like, okay, are we going to be totally lost if we watch this? And a lot of people say, if you don't intend to watch the series, which, for those of you who don't know, One Piece has been running for a long time, I think since the 90s. It is up to, if not at 1,000, over 1,000 episodes. And that's just the anime. I mean, no telling like the manga how many volumes there are or are in print. But yeah, so we don't have time to watch all 1,000 episodes. Oh, well, okay, we probably have time, but we just don't have I don't have the patience to do all that and then watch the movie.
You want to know how many episodes there are?
How many?
According to my very, very quick Google search, there is 1,115 episodes.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, because and they're still coming out with them. I mean, still new seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so if you have some free time, if you do not plan on doing anything else in your entire life, you can go ahead and start binging One Piece.
How long would that take you?
Well, each episode is an average of 22, 24 minutes. I don't know how many an hour. Are you doing a calculation?
Yeah, because I want to know.
Okay.
Times. Yeah, we'll say it's like 24 minutes.
24 minutes. Sorry. How many?
Well, I don't know if I'm doing the calculation correctly.
What are you, sorry.
It's 26,760 minutes of life.
Well, we're not about that life, so
no, that's too much.
Yeah, but let's get on to stuff that we are good at, which is apparently not watching One Piece.
Not that we're opposed to it, because this was a good movie.
This was a good movie. So, Rebecca, for those who may not know what the One Piece Red film is about, go ahead and give us a little bit of a synopsis.
Yeah. So Uta, the most beloved singer on the planet, is known for hiding her own identity when performing. Now, for the first time, she will reveal herself to the world. Is that really the synopsis?
Yes, that is the synopsis I found on IMDb. And there is nothing else there.
It's not that it's bad. It's just severely lacking.
Yeah. Well, if you were to add anything on to it, what would it be?
So, I mean, I would say now she will reveal herself to the world. I don't know. It's hard to.
I mean, in a nutshell, that is what the movie is about. I guess it is,
yeah.
Because it's all
shenanigans ensue.
Yeah, it's all revolving around Uta.
Yeah, so, it's Uta and her desire to defeat the age of pirates, right?
Correct.
She wants to defeat the age of pirates and bring in a new age of peace.
Yes.
Through her music specifically.
Correct.
So that is her goal. That's what she wants.
And Uta's character, very I would say savior-esque mentality.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So when we first come to the opening of this movie can also be seen as one very long music video.
Oh my gosh, yes. There are so many songs. They're really good,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of
And the
songs.
reason why they are good is because they're performed by Otto, and she has done a lot of different things. She's done stuff for Spy Family. She's done stuff for Oshinokoi. A lot of different things. A phenomenal range, phenomenal talent. Amelie, who is a YouTuber who does English translations of anime songs, she's actually the dub actress for Uta.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not the singing voice.
Not the same voice. So
they kept the Japanese
they
for
wanted
singing.
to keep that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think was a smart choice.
Yeah. I mean, Amelie, she would have done an excellent job at it.
Oh,
10 for sure. 10. But yeah, I mean, it was a good idea also to keep the original singer.
Yeah. So the opening is pretty stereotypical of what you would see in a modern like idol concert,
except like 10 levels higher.
Yeah,
it was intense.
Like think of every concert you've ever been to and times it by 10, and it still wouldn't amount to this concert. I mean, they have pyometrics, they have visual, they have holographic machines coming up. Just things flying around, drones, I guess it would be kind of a liken to. But yeah, there is a lot going on in this concert, and everybody's really excited because apparently Uta, I guess, is like the only type of idol in that universe, I would say. According to, the people who attend there. And all the people are there because...
the only idol ever? They're literally in the country of music.
Oh. Well, it's okay, so...
She might be a different type of an idol, but
yeah.
She may be the only idol that exists since the downfall of the country of music.
Right. And we see a little bit of that in the background. But the reason why everybody is there is because this is the first time she's performed in person.
Yeah, she spent like the past 2 years to amass a great following of followers or fans for herself. She was broadcasting her songs throughout the world.
Right.
And everyone just really fell in love with her hope in her songs and how great of a voice she had.
Yes.
And everything. So this is the first ever concert that she's put on.
Mm. And I love the first song, New Genesis, which kind of leads us to kind of our first point. So in the song New Genesis, in the translation that if you're watching on Crunchyroll, talks about, I see a bright future. We can change the world. I can change the world. And I made me think of like New Heaven, New Earth. In Revelation 21, we have John who's speaking because he's given the revelation of, the future. And this is from the NIV. And it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband." And this is kind of the image, well, not exactly, but this is kind of the allegory that I think Uta is trying to paint for this new era that she wants to bring about. She wants to get rid of the atrocities. She wants to get rid of all pirates or make pirates and not be pirates anymore and bring a new age of peace because she just wants people to be happy. That's the one thing that we hear time and time again. throughout this whole movie.
She's definitely got this very like kawaii aura
Oh,
around her.
absolutely.
Like everything she can create things with her music,
Mhm.
and even the things that she creates, it's all like candy and teddy bears
Mhm.
and fun cutesy things like that. All the food that they could possibly want, like all of that stuff. So it's very like very sort of innocent girl
Right.
vibe is what she
Or
has.
so we think.
Hmm. Well, that's how she wants to portray herself.
Correct.
But really, there's something darker lurking
Yes.
underneath the surface.
Correct.
Mm.
Going back a little bit, well, it's actually a bit further in the film, but going back as far as background of Uta, she is the daughter of, well, before I say any of this, if you haven't watched One Piece and you watch this movie, there's also going to be spoilers in there.
Yes, there will
So,
definitely be spoilers
yeah.
throughout this conversation. So if you haven't watched it yet, definitely go
Yeah.
watch
Yeah.
it first before
Correct.
listening to this.
And if you're going to watch this and don't intend to watch One Piece, you'll do fine.
Right. Yeah. We could follow along pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't like much expository because there are a whole host of characters that we don't know who they are, and again, that's because
Pretty
we
much
have not
every
watched
single
the
character
series. Yeah,
except for Luffy.
except for Luffy and Uta. Yeah,
And I didn't know that he had stretchy arms and legs and could
yeah,
become large.
yeah. Apparently,
Didn't know that.
yeah, he has a lot of capabilities. But Uta, her backstory before she's amassed this fan base, this following of people who just adore her and her music, is she is actually the daughter of one of the most brutal and ruthless pirates to ever roam the present age.
Don't you
And
mean the most well known?
mhm, yeah, the most well known, and it's kind of a shock to people when they find this out. Because Luffy, with his stretchy arms, swings up to the stage after the first number because Uta and Luffy are childhood friends.
Yep. They used to know each other.
And Luffy's, crusade and gain of pirates are like, well, how do you know her? It's like, oh, she shanks his daughter. And they're like, what? And they're like, what? She, Uta wouldn't be friends with a pirate. So not only is she friends with a pirate, she's the daughter of a pirate. But as we go further into the film, she's tried to rid herself of her association with uh, with pirates.
Yes, find out that she does not like pirates. And that her and her father had a falling out
Correct.
at some point.
And that's why she stayed behind in that country music, because it was her choice. And way back when Luffy was really young, she well, did he think that Shanks abandoned her, or because nothing was like really said during that like flashback?
What Luffy thought?
Yeah.
He thought that Uta left to be a musician.
Okay.
Learn to be a musician.
Okay. Well, which was the truth? Okay.
Well, no.
No. What was the truth? Yeah, okay.
She didn't leave of her own accord.
Oh,
she was left.
She was left. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just dressed up as, yeah, she wanted to stay behind and, pursue her real passion.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, a lot of things happen in this film. A lot of characters are introduced. There's like, I got very distracted at some points because it's like, boom, 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 things happening like at 10 times speed almost.
Well, for the people who were already familiar with these characters, it would have made a lot more sense to be like, oh, hey, our friends, they're popping in for just a moment and we know who they are, but the audience wouldn't. It kind of reminds me of when we went to go see the Spy Family movie But it was
Yes,
really easy to follow for people
correct.
who weren't
Yes,
familiar with the series, but
because
there were
it,
definitely
yes,
things that people who watched the series
correct.
went, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, kind of like little nods here and there. But what the Spy Family Code White, with that movie, what it did really well was it did really good at expository, like right from the beginning. But it also had something for the fans who were, long time watchers of the series.
Mhm.
I say long time watchers, it's only been out for a year.
The series?
Yeah,
Spy Family?
about a year and a half.
No.
Yes.
Only a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I thought it was on longer than that.
Probably approaching about a 2 year mark, maybe.
Hmm.
So, Beck, I'll ask you, what were your like initial impressions of the movie? Because it was either we were gonna do this movie for this week, or we were gonna do something else. But what led you to want to embrace this film, not having seen the series?
Well, so the music was a big factor.
Yeah,
Because I've heard the new Genesis song, and that was really good. And I don't know, I've always heard really good things about One Piece and how awesome it is,
yeah,
but I just it's a lot to commit to
it
if
is
you're
a
gonna
lot.
watch the series, and if we could watch the movie without having to watch the rest of the series, but still kind of get a taste of the series, then I thought that would be a good option.
Yeah, yeah. The music was a big factor for me because I love it when that is a big part of an anime series, just because I like the different styles and kind of seeing the range of the voices that are portrayed in a series or in a movie like that. But yeah, I feel this is a good standalone, just like the Spy Family Code White is also an original story. It's not part of like the manga series. Um, so I appreciate that as well. But get into like the themes um of this movie and how kind of Uta is this kind of savior-esque figure. What was surprising to me is that Uta is actually the antagonist in this film, which from her demeanor, from her look, you don't think that right off the bat until
She's very disarming.
until she plays a game with Luffy, kind of like a competition, and she says, "Oh, why don't you just give up being a pirate and stay here?" It's
Mm.
like, well, I'm going back to the ship. It's like, you're not leaving. None of you are.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, it takes a turn, and you're like, huh?
yeah.
What do you mean we're not leaving? Turns out she's created this whole alternate universe
Yes, it's
and is
so
keeping people in this happy place.
correct
Her
because
version of a
they're all
happy
asleep
place.
basically,
Yep.
which was wild to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she says something while she's outside of this out of the dream realm, I'll say. It's like, yeah, bodies don't they're not as valuable as souls. I'm like, oh, you are getting into cult like status here.
Honestly, yes. She reminded me so much. I think we even made a comment about it of what the Jonestown.
It was Jonestown Massacre, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where she was basically asking everyone to
Drink the
drink
Kool-Aid.
the
Yeah.
actually it was Flavor Aid,
Oh, flavor.
not Kool-Aid. But yeah,
Yeah, I
so
guess they
to
couldn't
drink the
call it that for that copyright.
maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how it got changed at some point to Kool-Aid instead of Flavor Aid. Or maybe Flavor Aid turned into Kool-Aid. They had to rebrand after the whole massacre thing. Maybe.
Again,
I would want
this
to.
is just speculation.
It's speculation. Anyway, whatever. But like she's really asking people to do that, to give up their life, their mortal life for
Yeah.
a better
Correct. Well,
eternal.
it's also like if you've ever heard of Heaven's Gate, kind of like what happened with that. It was kind of along the same lines as the Jonestown massacre, where um, I guess they've drank cyanide or something, or they were waiting like on top of this hill, like in the desert, for a spaceship to come and take them away. And I think a lot of people, were very dehydrated. Some people died of starvation or
Goodness.
dehydration. I don't know all the specifics, but that's also kind of another parallel that I've drawn from that.
Yeah. There seems to be quite a few uh cults who like ask people to go to a better place, um, wanting to leave their mortal bodies behind
Oh,
and enter
okay.
into the eternal.
So while we're talking about that, it made me think of the Mother God,
Yeah.
that documentary we watched a while
Mm-hmm.
back. That was wild. And do not take their advice. Go see a 3D doctor if you need help. I assure you, it's fine. So we're mainly focusing on the character of Uta and her characteristics, because with two people not seeing One Piece, that's pretty much all we got to go on.
Well, she's the one who has the most character development throughout
Correct.
the movie, so it makes sense.
Right. Now, Uta is a antagonist in the main sense that we would think of it as. She's not like a malicious villain. I think it is misguided, because she was pretty much all on her own for, gosh, years and years, and she was able to connect with people through like a device to broadcast her songs. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to have a community with her when you've been alone for several years? Which I thought was interesting.
Well, and it goes to show too, I think that when we are out of community
Yeah.
with people, how warped your thinking can become,
Oh, yeah.
and how misguided you can become. You can just get really, really out of sorts, I think,
You can.
when you're out of community. It's really important. Obviously for Christians, we are really focused on being a part of community,
Right.
and how important that is to be a part of the body, and to be able to hug each other when we need hugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were even talking about at dinner tonight before we started recording.
Oh gosh, yeah.
We were talking about, or Josh mentioned that there are people that you can hire who are like professional cuddlers.
Yes. So it's non-sensual. It basically, there is a service. I found this out on TikTok, but there is a profession. And by the way, we're going to be all over the place on this episode. It's just going to be that way. We'll talk about this movie. We'll talk about other things. It's a free for all. Join in. Buckle up. It's a wild ride. So, yeah. So on TikTok, there is this girl that I was talking, who is a professional cuddler. Apparently, this is the whole agency, and you go on a website and you book a person, I guess, man or woman, to, be a cuddler. Now, again, it's just not just cuddling. You can make it a whole day thing. You can cuddle in the morning. You can go out, lunch, have a fun time, fun date, come back, cuddle more, massage. And I think, okay, what type of clientele or clients are they getting?
Well, it's someone who, regardless of that, the fact that the service even exists says that people need human connection. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. And if you're not in community with other people in general, you'll search for it in other ways, because that's how we're wired. We're wired to be in relationship and in community with people. And Uta never had that.
Yeah.
She never had that rich community, at least
Right.
while she was getting through her formative years,
Correct.
where she was having like her teenage years.
Mm.
Because she was, how old was she when she was left at the
Probably
island?
10, 11 maybe.
Something like that. Yeah, 10, maybe 10, 10 or less. Um, so she had a lot of good time in community, and she thrived, and um, she loved music, and she pursued all of that, and she was so happy. And then when she got out of community with people and was isolated with only Gordon as her human contact, she kept that innocence and everything, but then she began to learn about the world and how cruel it was, and decided that the world would be better off if everyone was in this state of dreamless sleep, or dream
Well, I
state of
mean,
sleep.
and who wouldn't want to be in a state of a, dream sleep or whatnot?
Mhm.
Because, well, depending on the type of dream, you know, sometimes the dream is so vivid and so wonderful and peaceful that we have at times that we don't want to wake up. We just want to stay in that, we want to escape from reality. And we had different ways of escapism, through media and different times of spending with family and friends. Um, but Uta takes it a step further, and I,
Yeah, she really does. She
yeah,
steps in and she begins to play God,
yes,
where she decides the new Genesis, the new beginning.
mhm,
She's the one who wants to take on that role of creating the new heaven and new earth, when that isn't her job. That's
correct,
not her role. She
right,
can't force people to do things against their will.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and well,
yeah,
even people in the dream state, they're like, "Well, I don't want to stay here forever.
right.
I've got the responsibilities, and like, my real life isn't that bad."
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's
there was
a
this one kid who was really excited about being there, like, yeah, let's stay here forever.
yeah,
And he was just really excited. And then at some point, it was like days later is what it felt like.
mhm,
He was like, well, that was fun, Uta, but now I gotta go take care of my sheep.
yeah,
And she just like couldn't understand.
yeah. It's
Well,
like,
why
well,
would you want
yeah.
to
Why would you
leave?
want to leave? I
This
mean,
is a perfect place.
yeah. Why would you want to leave perfection?
Right.
And she's having to like rein people back in, and then really be like, it's like, none of you are leaving. You don't understand. I created this place so that all of you could be with me forever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like it was good until it wasn't good.
Right.
And then she
And
was like, "Oh, you're going to combat me? Well, I'm going to
yes.
take away your free will, because
Right.
that's really what is happening,
Hmm.
and turn you all into
Like
like,
zombies.
well, in the dream world, she turned them into
Oh, she started, yeah, like
um
plushies or,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was all kinds of different
Yeah. A lot
things.
of kawaii things.
Mhm. Very, very yeah. But it is, she was taking away their free will.
Yeah.
And, what is love if free will is taken away? It's not real love at that
Correct.
point.
Yeah. And it's right that to that misguidedness of Uta. She thinks she's doing the right thing and a good thing because she wants community with her. She doesn't want anybody else to suffer at the hands of pirates. But
Mhm.
when she's desperate, that's where it all goes downhill.
Yeah.
Luffy, though, is he's got resilience, I'll say, of more than any other character I've seen in an anime.
What makes you say that?
Well, he is determined, number one, to get a straw hat back, and number two, to, get through to Uta because he still believes that, she's in there, like her true intentions, that yes, she wants community. Yes, she wants peace, and he may not agree with her bringing into an era of the pirates, but he still wants to make sure that, she's safe, she's, going on about her thing. He even says, hey, I'm glad about this for you, but I want to live my life as well.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good way to be like supportive of her, and yet he wants to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shank, shows up kind of like towards middle end, who is supposedly Uta's father, but not biological. They actually found Uta in a treasure chest.
Which I would imagine is just like very typical of the series in general.
Yeah.
Finding children in treasure chests is pretty normal, I'm guessing, in the series.
Yeah. I mean that's my assumption at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's interesting is the character design of each of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
They were all so unique.
Yeah, very diverse. That is one thing I appreciated, because in other animes, every character is of a similar style. Mm-hmm. They're not all drawn alike, but they follow a typical format. One Piece, however, you have people with long, big noses, short noses, people that shrink into chibi versions of themselves, people with horns, all different denominations.
Yeah, they're everywhere. You've got people who, are like big muscle men, yeah, they're just all over the place. And I found that really interesting, as a, I don't know, artistic choice for the show, in general. But it's very sort of like cartoon like.
Yeah, I would say it represents more Western animation in some sense.
In a way, yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but because we haven't even seen it, but like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
There's kind of there's really unique character designs in that one too, right?
I'm honestly a little bit terrified to embark on that adventure. I don't know if it's going to be too bizarre for me.
That's kind of what I've wondered too. I'm like, I don't know. What's it going to be like? I don't know that either.
Like, apparently there's a lot of references that people make to it.
Really?
And like, I kind of want to be in the know, but kind of not. But yeah, this was a very, it has a sad ending, unfortunately, for the antagonist. But I won't spoil it for you, unless if you couldn't already tell.
Well, why would you say that it's a sad ending?
Because it is a sad ending.
Yeah, but if you didn't want to spoil it, why say it's a sad
ending? We do spoilers all the time, Rebecca. They're used to it. Now, would I recommend this to somebody who plans to watch One Piece? No.
Why?
The reason being is, if you're planning to watch One Piece, there are things, according to people on Reddit and fans of the series, a lot of things will be spoiled for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because certain characters haven't been introduced yet. Oh. There's nuances that, depending on where you are in the series, haven't been developed. So, there's
interesting. That. Yeah, I noticed there was one of the characters in the Navy. They are the good guys, but it seems like it's like the Navy in general are the bad guys.
Correct. Well,
right? It was really hard. I'm just gonna say it was really hard to understand who's the good guys, who's the bad guys. I know Luffy and his crew are pirates, but they're different pirates.
Yes.
Because they're trying to like change the whole pirate system. Because Luffy and Uta actually have the same goal. Yes. They're just going about it in different ways.
Well, and that was the confusing part, because you have the villains at odds with Luffy and Uta, but then you had some of the villains teaming up with Luffy
Right.
in order to.
Is this like a
So,
one-time thing or
yeah,
just, I don't
well,
know.
more than likely, yes. But yeah, very interesting dynamics. And you're right, Rebecca. Who was a good guy? Who was a bad guy? It got very muddied towards the end.
And I think maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point of the show. I have obviously don't know what the rest of the show is, but it seems like that might be something that they are trying to convey is that, and this is like a famous quote from someone, which I do not remember who, but, someone said once that there are no heroes and villains in life. They're just people. And we all make decisions based on our own set of values. And we're very complicated individuals.
Right.
And perhaps that is kind of what was going on here
Yeah.
is because even Uta, who was our antagonist for the show, she you got to know her a little bit better and realize, well, she's not a bad person. She's just making some very bad decisions right now.
And that goes on. I think the whole quote is in life, there are no heroes, there are no villains, just people with their own agendas.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. I'm not sure who said that. If you know, leave us, tell us in the comments. But yeah, because what we may think is a hero or villain may not be a hero or villain to another person. It's all what your belief system is, what your values are. And again, going back to core beliefs. Like for me, if somebody like a Buddhist or a person of another faith was doing something that was in contradiction to my beliefs and values, I would say, hey, that's an antagonist, that's a villain. But that's on my core beliefs and values, whereas another person who is of their faith or outside, like a secularist maybe, they would not view that necessarily as an antagonist or as a hero or a villain.
Well, it kind of goes back in a way to the concept we talked about last week with Trigun and this idea of unconditional positive regard. And it kind of seems like Luffy has that as well, where he really views everyone as, has great potential and is good at the core of who they are. And views people with unconditional positive regard. And I respect that in people a lot because that's hard to do at times with people.
Absolutely. I don't think most of us can view people, like you said, in a high positive regard, all the time, because again, we're human. We fall from the pedestal that some people place us on. I hope nobody ever puts me on a pedestal. I could not handle that type of responsibility.
For real. Same. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I talk about my flaws so much on this show is because I don't know. I hope that through talking about my flaws that other people will be strengthened and not feel like they're alone. That's my goal anyway.
Nice. I wanted to go back to the cuddling thing for a minute.
Okay.
Because we kind of got onto it, then we related that to Uto, which again, whole point.
It's the point of the podcast.
Yeah. But I said that the type of clients, and you said this as well, that people would probably pay for the service or book a person for the service is they want the human connection. It's not all about sensual or sexual stuff. They just want, a connection and they want to, talk and whatnot. And for what this person on TikTok was saying, that's the majority of the clients that they get. And you said something, carrying the whole thing, but tell everybody else what you said.
If we're thinking of the same thing, I said, I was like, well, I know that if I asked my friend Brianna to cuddle. If I like needed that, she would do it.
And I'm like, that's so weird. Like, again, to me, now, girls are very touchy-feely and everything, and so maybe that
Yeah.
is not weird to them.
No, it really isn't. Like sleeping in the same bed,
Right.
whatever. Long hugs, whatever. I don't know. It's just kind of, yeah, much more, at least for me, I am much more kind of open to just like, yeah, being that way. And that's okay. And it's not
Yeah.
sexual.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, you just need the comfort of
Mm.
another person.
Right, right. For guys, though, I couldn't see that in any scenario, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can't either. For you guys.
It reminds me of that Adam Sandler film, Anger Management,
Hmm.
where he has the anger management therapist with him, and they're both, in the bed, and he leans over to Adam Sandler and said, in Europe, it is not uncommon for five men to share the same bed. He's like, that's not uncommon on an American. Uh, Good film. I haven't seen it in a while. But anyway, so kind of as we're wrapping up here, Rebecca, any final thoughts on Uta, her character, her characteristics, kind of the theme of being a savioresque to the world?
Mm. I think we've really talked about quite a bit with her.
Mm.
Um, maybe just advice to her is stop and listen, truly listen to everyone around you. Like, because she was hearing all of the bad stuff,
Yeah.
but she wasn't listening to the good things
Mm-hmm.
that were going on in their lives. So she was offering positive songs to
Correct.
people, and they were like, wow, thank you for your positive songs. It's
Yeah.
really helping us through these difficult times. And then they would tell her all about the difficult times.
Yeah, pirates killed my family, pirates killed my mother, pirates did this and this. And she's like, well, I mean, I can save you from all that. And then
Mhm.
people say, well, yeah, this stuff happened. We go through trials and tribulations, but we still got to live. We still got to go on about our lives. We can't stay in a dream state.
Well, and I think it says a lot too about humans and
Mm-hmm.
how we communicate about what's going on in our
Yes,
lives. We have a really big tendency to focus only on the negative things of life.
it's true.
That holds way more weight with us
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. And where the good things don't hold as much weight.
Right.
That's why I think it is so important to practice gratitude. That is talked about extensively in the Bible. Gratitude is so important. How many times does it say thankful? Be thankful for God, for thankful the things that He's done, thankful for family, all of that. And then, of course, we have a bunch of empirical evidence of how gratitude
Yes.
improves your physiology and psychology and all of those wonderful things. And, taking that time to meditate on scripture and all of these things. But yeah, gratitude makes a huge difference when you focus on the good things.
Right.
Not that you ignore the bad things,
Yes.
just that you remember there's a balance. There's good things that happen in your life and there's bad things that happen. I heard someone explain it this way one time, that joy and sorrow are like parallel railroad tracks that are running parallel to each other. The train won't move, your life basically won't move without both of them. You need both joy and sorrow, and it's important to honor both in your life. And that's okay, to be able to do that. And I think if people of that world would remember that and remember gratitude, which I think they did after that crazy situation, they're all going to need group counseling. But that's important for us to remember, I think, is gratitude.
Absolutely. I would agree 100% with that. We gave you our take on One Piece Red Film. Again, As we said, we have not seen the One Piece series, but I think it was good to do somewhat of the character analysis on Uta and also give you kind of like a overview of the whole story. So you have a jumping off point if you decide to see it as well. Now, if you want to hear about Luffy and all of them, well, there are other sources that can tell you all about that. Well, we have some great stuff coming down the pipeline here soon. Really excited about. Again, we'll kind of take a break a little bit from the anime, kind of get back to more of the Western animation here coming out soon. But until next time, keep those sailors shining and stay home with our friends.